Well, here we are again, at the end of the year, and I imagine some of you are thinking, oh, B-Mask was kinda quiet this year. Has he been okay? To which the answer is no. But now yes. This year has been one of my most chaotic, which is not a bad thing exactly, but has meant that yes, you're only getting one major video before this year's out, and believe me, this was not planned. So first off, I really want to apologise for the massive ball drop in the lack of content. I had some major surgeries and life decisions made that were done ironically enough to get me back to doing videos full time, but now things are good, and I have a lot of stuff ready to start editing after I take a little holiday break, which, the reasons for why will probably become apparent as this goes on. The rest of this is going to be me going into detail about exactly what went down and what's coming next, now that things have finally settled, so feel free to skip to any segments if you feel squeamish about eyes or teeth or comic books or rent control. I just want to be fully transparent about what happened, what's going on, and I'm only working with bullet points, and I hate being on microphone when I don't have like a full script, because my brain goes to all sorts of word places in the moment, and I get scared, and I just don't know where the words are going to come next, so we might as well just move on. Living as close as I did to London was kind of a blessing and a curse. On the one hand, I had this immediate access to a lot of opportunities in the fields I wanted to pursue, and on the other hand, it was very expensive. I'd been making plans in 2019 to finally move somewhere else to focus purely on videos and see if I couldn't make this whole thing work, and I was about ready to go, and then bam, pandemic. In a way, it was a good time to focus on getting lots of videos done that I'd always wanted to finish, which I did, and I'm quite proud of everything I made in 2020 for the most part. I was pretty pleased with how that panned out, and I was hoping to use that energy to help get myself where I wanted to in 2021. But well, that didn't exactly happen. On a routine checkup with an optometrist, after noticing my vision was kind of off all of a sudden, I was told it wasn't correctable and I'd have to see a specialist. I did, and they diagnosed me with keratoconus. Keratoconus is essentially when the cornea, the layer over your actual eyeball, becomes diseased and starts to warp as it gets thinner, mostly occurring in patients with eczema. It happens in one eye more than the other at first, but over time slowly gets worse until your vision is horribly distorted in both. Lights end up ghosting, images blur, sensitivity to bright lights, the list goes on. The kicker is that there's no known cure. Glasses can't fix it. Contacts can be made, but they have to be specialized. And I love this part. It's made worse by being in the sun or rubbing your eyes. Yeah. The only thing close enough to a fix that exists right now is a technique called corneal cross-linking, also known as CXL. They basically use a UV light to burn the cornea until it stiffens and halts the disease. Not a permanent cure, but enough to, stop it from getting worse. The specialist I met was nice enough, and he was like, well, most people don't always need it. You might just be fine on the contacts we give you. And I thought, okay, that's good. And then I had a bad reaction to the contacts, and he went, well, that's a shame, because I'm retiring, so I kind of wash my hands of you. And COVID hit, and I was fairly depressed, to be honest. As you can imagine, I rely on my eyes for all the things I love to do, and it was affecting my work where I couldn't even judge corners properly on the screen right in front of me. Like, you could probably see in a couple videos things that were just misaligned or not where they needed to be in the corners. It's like having 20/20 vision, but with annoying trickster distortions. Like, sometimes you notice, and sometimes you don't, and it's horrible. And as it gets worse, you feel worse about it. As COVID progressed and things started to function again, I thought, okay, well, it's time to take matters into my own hands. Even on the NHS, I would have had to pay for the CXL treatment, but it turns out a new additional technique was released into private practice called TPRK, where they use a laser to smooth out the irregularities of the cornea, basically cutting back the diseased parts, which is meant to restore some of the vision, not a huge amount, but enough, and then they combine that with the CXL afterwards to keep it in place. I was nervous about trying that because obviously it sounds like a very new and invasive procedure, but I read up on the subject. I did a lot of research on what other people were saying, and it seemed like a really good idea. Like, literally everyone was saying, this changed my life and it could change yours. So I thought, I've got enough of the money now that I can make this happen, so I should get a consultation and book this sooner rather than later. And also a dentist. I was getting a lot of pain in my bottom jaw because my teeth had begun to seriously cross over, and I realized I couldn't put off getting a brace any longer. I just needed to get something to fix it, especially while the pandemic had hit and everybody was staying indoors. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to, once things were easing off again, go back out and get that sorted. So waited for that, we did it, and the dentist said, this is great, but I want to know if you want to have your wisdom teeth removed first before we try and reorganize your jawline. And I hate them anyway, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And this is kind of where the video trouble started. So originally I was going to have this done at the end of 2020, and it just kept getting pushed back and back and back, and I thought, let's do it after Christmas and get it done in 2021 early, and I would write the script kind of around the healing time and then voice it afterwards. And that just didn't happen because it turns out that the bottom 2 wisdom teeth took 2 hours apiece to remove. Here's some things you don't want to hear when a dentist has knives in your mouth. Hard as a rock. It's really stuck, huh? Aye. It's fused to the bone. What do you mean it still hurts? Oh boy. And then the removal of the second one caused nerve damage. The good news is that this did heal and I'm fine. I lost the feeling in like half of my lower jaw, but that's back now and I feel really good. It's been a really clean finish otherwise. Absolutely no problem with the work that's been done. But the problem is that it pushed me back by 2 months. The pain was so bad that it took an entire month to get over the both times that I went to the sessions. So it just ripped apart my planned schedule. I took the time to do some more writing and watch some stuff. And I just waited for the verdict from Dr. Eyeball. I went to some consultations and they showed I would be a good candidate for the treatment, which I'd already concluded would be the option I should go for. And we did. We took a while to get that all sorted, but eventually it was decided that mid-2021 we would go ahead with the procedure. And if you thought the tooth thing was bad, most people, when they get CXL, they do one eye first, let that recover, then go for the other one. And I wanted to speed up the healing process because it was already quite far along. And so I opted for both at once, and I would never do that again. There were all these Reddit threads talking about the post-surgery pain being like, day 1 I was in bed, day 2 I was feeling better, and by day 3 I was in the pub. Well, day 1 I was in immense pain, day 2 I was banging my head against the floor, and there was no day in the pub. For more than COVID, it was just very painful. I was blind for about a week and a half, and the first 2 days of that is just pure pain that you have to medicate for as often as you possibly can without any exposure to light. So I listened to podcasts and audiobooks and all sorts that I'd loaded up, had family bringing me food and healing drugs, sitting in the dark like some top mafia dad. After day 2, the pain started to subside, and I could finally think a little clearer and look after myself a little better. As the week went on, I felt myself get better and better and better and worse and worse and wait, what? I'm rushed to A&E after a particularly bad reaction, and I'm sitting there with this intense pain thinking it's got to be my diet, because I wasn't eating for those 2 weeks that much. I just kind of sat there like I really don't feel hungry. It can't be that serious. It's got to be gas or whatever. Only they decide after a quick check on me that actually I should go to one of the sick bays, and after getting a blood test and a scan, they come back and go, hey, your kidneys? Really not good. We think you need a bed. So for 4 days, I just sat in the ward, hoofing painkillers with my little IV drip, which is it's like Crash Twinsanity, but in real life. It's us gamers, huh? Luckily, I was starting to feel better after getting hooked up on the kidney Capri-Sun. Waiting for the diagnosis to come in. Still with blurred vision, I might add, through most of this. I could just barely see anything unless I held it really close to my face, so I was able to get a couple banger tweets out like, ow, 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 ow. It was actually kind of funny. There was one guy there, some German guy, he was in a skateboarding accident, and I never heard him talk English the whole time he was there, just maybe a yes or no when the doctors came up to him. And as he left, he was on the phone, and he just says one thing in English. They will pay. They actually couldn't get a diagnosis that showed I was improving, which was weird because I was feeling better every day. I was feeling more and more normal. And they said, well, if you look good and feel good, then maybe you can spare the bed and we'll book you in a separate kidney clinic that you can go to on your own time. And I go, that's a great idea. I'll go and rest up at home. And what is it you need me to do? And they said, well, we just need you to go in and get a biopsy. Is that all? You guys. So I get to the renal unit, terrified, and the doctor says, hang on, no. Let's not cut open this boy willy-nilly. Let's take a few more blood tests, track your progress, and see if there's something else going on here. And he brought the chart up that showed my combined time at the hospital and at the clinic. So you know the lowest function a kidney's supposed to be is something like 95%? Well, I was at 25. I really thought it was a huge fart. Honestly, that's what it felt like. But he said, look, we'll monitor your results for a little bit longer, see if it's getting better. We have an idea that what it was one of the drugs you were taking to heal your eyes, naproxen, which apparently is notorious among certain patients for causing this reaction. Not often, but very rarely it does happen if you're genetically predisposed. Naturally, we reported this to the clinic and they were horrified to discover that this was the case. It had honestly never happened to them before, and they've amended the policy as a result of this happening to me. So, it was a good outcome in the end. For me, the story is really an opportunity to raise some awareness for keratoconus. I had no idea that this disease existed until I Googled my diagnosis, and it quite dramatically changed my life. I went from, being very normal and reasonably happy to a little detached and a little depressed. It was a very odd experience to feel like, day by day my vision was pretty much going to get worse, and it did, and it was very scary to see happen. In some ways, I do see better now than before I did. The surgery was a success, but it's complicated to describe. It's better than what it was, and in some ways, it's still not great. In some ways, it's different. It's still like 2020, but not really 2020. And I actually still have a way to go before full healing. It's supposed to be 6 months to get to a good position, and then almost a year to really feel the benefits of it. So I've still got a way to go. But I really think that people should know about this, because there's a lot of opticians who don't realize what it is, which was my problem. The first opticians I went to who saw that one of my eyes was blurrier than the other, they didn't take that as a sign that something was wrong. They totally just didn't know about this. I just really implore you, if you think, if you're a sufferer of eczema, and you notice any change in your vision whatsoever, do go and check it out, because it's better to get it done sooner than later, because you can't really get that vision back. It's pretty much screwed from that point onwards. They are talking about lots of new techniques. There's things like 3D printing corneas that they're trying to do now, but we're a long way off from that being approved by the FDA and others. So just be aware that that's a thing. I guess the main thing I have is that my right eye is forever pretty blurred, and I'm going to wait until my next checkup once the full year is done to really see if there's anything else I can do about that. In order to support my plans to move out and to make up for the fact I'd be undergoing these surgeries, I got myself a part-time job at a comic book store, and that was a trip. Really, really enjoyed that. I met a ton of good people and weird people that I can tell stories about forever. I expanded my frame of reference on just how much great work I hadn't read yet, and I got to experience a really crappy teenager who kept asking for rare NFTs but then wouldn't pay £10 for his friend's birthday present. What a sweetheart. It was a fun job, and every new turnaround box through the door on a Tuesday was a surprise. That just never got old.
Turn around. Every now and then I open boxes that are comics open. That will be really good. People looking through the window thinking I'm mad. Open my turn around. Every now and then I hope the box will open and I see all the comics inside.
I'm grateful to it for basically carrying half the weight against my YouTube support during my recovery. The surgery ended up falling about, I think, 3 months into my time there, and Bossman made the effort to back me up even when the kidney took me out by an extra week, so I got back to work with minimal fuss. I was still extremely blurry, but I could do all the usual jobs well enough, so would really be wrong of me to not acknowledge how it and the customers kind of put me back on my feet in a cool way. In the end, I lasted about 6 or so months, and I'd made enough to support myself, but it was also more demanding than expected, with long, awkward hours, and made it way more difficult to do the thing I thought I could do on the side, which is the whole reason I signed up at all, to make more videos, which means it was time to move. So, as of mid-December, I have moved to an undisclosed location, and it feels good. I've got a decent apartment, which is a bit of a dream of mine to be honest, for a very reasonable price, and I'm spending my focus full-time on making videos, with the apartment now a major incentive to do more and to do better. I won't lie and tell you I'm in as stable a position as I was because, I haven't been making videos, I'm not quite where I was in 2020, and it's taken a while to get everything set up again and produce a workflow where I can start cranking out more content. But I feel we're very close to making next year as good as what I was doing in 2020. There are so many things that I'm desperate to get out to you guys. Perhaps the biggest change is that with the help of a very close friend, I'm now achieving my dream of getting myself in shape at the gym, and I have to tell you, it's been a hell of a change for the better. After losing about 7 kilograms and moving on to muscle training, I have literally never felt as good as this. And I hope I can continue to make that work for me because it's really changed my outlook on just about everything, especially when it comes to being productive. So, what's next? I'm very glad the Mando video happened because for a hot minute there it wasn't going to. It's a video that's been in development hell since January because I'd seen Season 2, I was like, I'm just going to do a short video, and it ended up being a long video talking about all my takes on Star Wars, and I just felt it would be wrong to not make it a proper Beyond Pictures piece. The script kept changing between all the delays and the surgeries, and, after everything got pushed back, that, just seemed like it was never going to happen. But I knew that I needed to not be defeated by it, so I pushed through, and it turned out better than I thought it was going to, for the most part. I mean, you guys will be the judge of that. It's been a great response so far, really been pleased with what people have said, and it's nice that it hasn't felt like, I was worried it's Star Wars. I thought people were really going to go against me for it, but people have been great. It's been a really great discussion that I've seen on the back of it, and it's nice for that to just be a chill B-Mask video that people enjoy. It was a great way to kick me back into my usual flow. You might have noticed the branding change. I was getting tired of myself, to be honest. I looked at the thumbnails I was making and I saw what other people were doing, and I'm like, I'm becoming such a hypocrite. I complain about the thumbnails they're putting out, and then I'm doing the same thing. What's even the point? So I was getting mad at myself, and I'm like, I really need to find some kind of style that, because I talk about so many disparate genres and mediums, I really need to find something that kind of brings it together for me. And I don't think I'm there yet, but with the help of a friend, I feel like I've finally broken into something that I'm happier with, and I think could be good for me moving forward. So, had to take that first step, and, it feels good to do. I had so many videos planned for this year that I'm really gutted didn't happen. A few of them I'd actually fully written and even promised on Patreon because I'd fully written them. And of those, only the Mando video ended up getting edited. So much time passed as I recovered that 2 of those videos are actually completely out of date. I'll probably retool all of them into new stuff, but the truth is that I'm very seriously considering respecting my patrons by giving them those scripts, because to be honest, they were waiting a long time for those, and it's the least they deserve for their patience. The final products, even if I rejig them about, they'll be something different. So might be a good idea. I kept promising, threatening almost, that I would do the Spider-Man video about the new movies, and I still really want to do that, but I'm kind of glad I held off because I just got out of No Way Home, and man, I'm really glad I held off. Don't worry, it's all good thoughts. You'll see when I get to it. I want to get to this one. I was actually kind of laughing because Psychonauts 2 managed to pick a release date that was almost the day that my site got back to pre-op levels. That was amazing. I was able to sit down and I was able to go through it 3 times and get all the footage I needed to while drafting it. And I knew whatever happened, that was going to be my next major priority after completing Mando. The third and final draft is like 95% done. I thought I'd be able to get it out in November, and then I realized it was a little difficult to get what I wanted out of my head. There's certain thoughts that have been very delicate to try and word, and I think you'll appreciate what the final videos become. However, it's going to be next year, because I'm not going to be anywhere near my desktop edit suite. I've just got my little laptop, so I can get this update video out, and that's it. I just need to go back for Christmas till the 4th of January and relax. There's a lot of people I haven't seen. There's a lot of things that I just want to kick back and watch. I just haven't been able to do any of this stuff because I've been so gung-ho on either surgeries or projects. I hope you understand if I have to take one more break before I get back into the swing of things in January. I'll probably still crack out the laptop to get a couple scripts tightened in my spare time, but You'll see the Psychonauts 2 video in 2022 early for sure. Oh wait, 2022! Man. I'm just going to be real upfront with you now. I really thought I was going to have that Marvel video out at the end of this year. I, in my naive stupidity, thought that this incredibly ambitious, incredibly huge passion project I want to produce was going to be done by the end of this year. Wasn't going to happen. I mean, not just because of the surgeries, just the level of what this video has become as I've written it. It's a little beyond what I did with the Fantastic Four video. This Marvel project is something that I'm putting all of my energies into wherever I can. I think about it every day. I just don't want to give the game away. I really can't say anything about it. But so don't think that I'm not interested or that I dropped it. That video is still a promise, and it's still everything that I want to do with it. It's just unfortunately got away from me mentally. So I really want to make it a priority for next year. Once Psychonauts 2 is out there and I've got those other videos on the go, that this project it's nearly ready as a piece of writing. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna have to excellent. Nobody ain't gonna know shit. Other videos are being created in the meantime, a few short projects that are fully written and some I've been planning for quite a while. I just need to get back to 2020 mode where I'm getting these projects done, month after month after month. After Mando, it became so much easier to write new videos because that had been such a sticking point. And it happens that Psychonauts 2 is just also a long video that needs a lot of precise wording. But trust me, that still came together faster than some of the others I've done. So, that was just a miscalculation in timing. Like I said, I've already got other projects fully written around it, and I want to do some shorter ones as well because I've been doing a lot of big things. So we'll have a steady stream of videos once that's complete. Don't worry, the B-Mask factory is rolling on. Speaking of streams, I'm thinking of doing some. I never did this before because my home internet is trash. People were telling me that it had the ping of the Mars rover, and they weren't wrong. But now I've got this sweet setup that it's fast and it's sexy, and I'm really pleased with it. So I'd like to use that as a way to broaden my platform a bit and remind some of you guys that I'm alive between videos, because Lord knows it's always nice to see that comment pop up every now and then. It'll be a while before it's fully set up, but feel free to click the link to my Twitch in the description, and hopefully I'll see some of you guys there so we can play some Super Turbo Button Genes or something. I don't know what games are these days. I've been out of it for a bit. Once again, I want to thank everyone who stuck around during the hiatus. The subscribers, the patrons, the Discord folks, my Twitterers, my other YouTube associates that I don't talk to because I have terrible self-destruction issues. It's true. Sometimes I do get burnt out or I get writer's block, but I really don't mean to take these breaks. There's so much I want to do and I'm willing my body to do, and I'm getting there. I just had to take care of my real life. I hadn't been doing that for a while. It needed to be done. That stuff just takes time, and I'm the other side now, and I'm feeling really good about it. So please, forgive the wait. It wasn't done because I don't want to do this, because there's so much I want to do with this. And please stay tuned for more stuff. I can't thank you enough for taking the interest that you do in all the things I've done while I've been away. So that's been really gratifying to see. I don't know how things are going to pan out from this point on, but I do know one thing.
Fish people.